Oh, hello everybody. How are we all doing today on this Monday morning, July 13th? Welcome to Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner on 12OZSportsRadio.com. I am your host, Glenn Kaplan. I'm absolutely relatively fired up today. There's a packed show we got for the next little bit under an hour show. Welcome to Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner at 12OZSportsRadio.com. I am your host, Glenn Kaplan. We are live in Berlin, in Baltimore, Maryland, which is home of the Baltimore Orioles and the Baltimore Ravens. Welcome to the 86th show here on 12OZSportsRadio.com for me, and I hope you all enjoyed your weekend. Nonetheless, and are ready for today and the week to also get started here. Nonetheless, let's get right into it. I ain't messing around today. Breaking news. First one, number one. Well, I have two of them. I'm going to get into the first one. The Washington Redskins have decided to retire their logo and their team name with all the criticism they're receiving about the name Redskins. So the Washington Redskins have released a statement. On July 3rd, we announced the commencement of a thorough review of the team's name. That review has began in earnest. As part of this process, we want to keep our sponsors, fans, and community apprised of our thinking as we go forward. Today we are announcing we will be retiring the Redskins name and logo upon a completion of this review. So they're putting a name to rest. They've had this name for 87 years. Since 1933, they won 3 Super Bowls in this time span. Ron Rivera did his first year as head coach, and Dan Snyder, the owner, for a long time. And Dan Snyder basically said, well, I'm never, ever going to change the team name. Well, money talks, man. Money talks, because now FedEx doesn't even want to sponsor you or any of this other stuff unless your team name got changed, because basically your entire merchandise got sold, not sold, but taken down from the website, and you had to make money or you're basically doomed. So I had a Redskins fan, Shlomo Fried, he sent me something on Facebook with the whole Redskins things. He's like, what am I supposed to do with these now? Well, I guess there's a new team name that's supposed to come out. I don't know if it's going to be today, maybe sometime this week, but it's definitely now going to be before the season. Personally, I thought it was going to be way too tight for it to happen before the year would begin, but they found the way. They found the way. So let me go find what I have here on my script, what I think maybe the new team name should be. And I saw this yesterday because I thought the jerseys for this were pretty cool. I like this name a lot. The Washington Red Wolves. Yes, the Red Wolf sounds like an excellent name, I think, in my opinion. I'm not sure what Red Wolf has to do with the nation's capital. Like what in hockey you got the Capitals, and in baseball you got the Nationals, and in basketball you got the Wizards. But so this move is to make sure if they want to go back to Washington, D.C. after their stadium contract expires in Landover, Maryland in 2026-2027, if they do go back to Washington, D.C., there won't be any issues. I don't know if Dan Snyder wanted to do this. Let's be real. I remember Max Kelvin saying it on First Take this morning, but let's be honest. Let's be honest. Did he really want to do this, Snyder? Probably not, but he had no choice. The old phrase, money talks. He would have been losing a ton of money. He would have been losing a ton of money had he not made the change. Had he not wanted to make the team change and change its nickname. So I like the Red Wolves. You got the Warriors and the Red Tails. Red Tails is probably my second favorite because it kind of has like that airplane thing. And I saw the Red Wolves logo, potential logo. Is like, I thought that was the best one out of all of them. That's how I felt about it. That's how I felt about the whole Washington Redskins potential team change name now. Yeah, nonetheless, I'm curious to see how it's all gonna really work out. So they're going to stick with the colors burgundy and gold. Gee, Why did I feel like I was just saying that when I was back in high school with the Wyoming Valley West burgundy and gold? Dear Neptune. Oh, back in Plymouth, PA, but it has nothing relative to do with the Redskins team name. But they keep their colors of burgundy and gold. That's what it seems like that the Redskins are trying to do here. They want to change the team name, but they don't want to have to change its entire colors. So we'll see what happens with the whole trademark. I know they're having some issues with that already. We'll see what the new team name is. And it's going to be really, 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 really exciting. And there's the second breaking news. So before just 10 minutes, right before I got onto the air, the Pittsburgh Penguins announced on their Twitter page that 9 undisclosed players got exposed to the coronavirus and they are not at the team facility and we don't know how long it's going to be. You don't want to know what I'm thinking right now. Because let me say something, and this is where the NHL and Gary Bettman is so wrong. The NHL should have escaped into Canada when they knew the return to play happened. Going, staying in the United States of America and practicing at your facilities is an obvious mistake. The NBA is controlled, it seems like, its coronavirus cases right now, and that's because they're in a bubble. And yes, I know Florida's had its spikes in cases, whatever, but the NBA's in their bubble now. I guarantee you the number will immediately drop for coronavirus cases when the NHL leaves this country. You can guarantee it. You can book it on your mark. You can go to Vegas today. The NHL coronavirus cases will drop when they leave the country because for obvious reasons. And I don't have to get into it because the dang government in this darn country is a downright crapshoot when it's come to this coronavirus cases. And I don't in any way, shape, or form trust this country when it comes to that. You think I trust it? It seems like the United States has been the absolute worst when it's come to that. Why do you think I'm so comfortable with the NHL going to Canada to complete its season? Gary Bettman batted 0 here when thinking about the return to play plan beforehand and leaving from the United States to Canada. Today or yesterday or over the weekend, the team should have been traveling to Canada and Edmonton and Toronto practicing there. It's a 100% BS that an outbreak like this has to happen in a true Stanley Cup contender before you have to bolt next Friday the 24th, where everyone's going to be leaving to Canada, where it seems like where people would rather be right now, because their coronavirus cases have been so much better handled, and give props to Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister, where credit's due. But I can't sit here right now and just ignore that I saw this coming a mile away because I nailed this on the head on my other shows. I can't sit here and just deny it that, oh, there's no problem here in the United States. Yes, we still have a major problem in the United States. Sorry, but I'm just stating facts of the matter. The NHL should have gone to Canada now. And when you cancel your season, or should I say, if or when you cancel your season, that's Bettman's fault for not getting the players to Canada earlier. That's his fault. That's not good. You knew the United States had a spike. You knew you had to go to Canada for this exact reason. Because you knew the cases were going up. The Tampa Bay Lightning were hit. The St. Louis Blues were hit. Now the Pittsburgh Penguins are hit. Why do you think teams across the NBA like the Milwaukee Bucks or Los Angeles Clippers shut down their facilities 2 days beforehand? Bettman, this is shame on you. Shame on you for not getting the players to Canada earlier. And If something happens this season, this is your fault. And I hope it doesn't get canceled because they released the schedule. And I'm going to get to that in a few minutes or maybe later on in the show because I have a lot more hockey to talk about today. And this is only the beginning of it. So if you're just fired up for listening to this outrage by me, I got a ton of more of them today. G. Louie. Excuse me. All I'm saying is that what are you thinking, NHL? What on planet Earth are you thinking by thinking it's a right idea to be here in the United States today? I don't understand. You could have got... There weren't enough Franks in Toronto or Edmonton to host 12 teams for practice? Well, I mean, I guess the NBA had to warm up its facilities too to get the players loose, so okay, I kind of get it. But the NBA's having its full-fledged training camp. They're having its full-fledged training camp in Orlando. You mean to tell me that the NHL couldn't have done that too? And look, the Pittsburgh Penguins have what? 31, 32, 33, 34 guys on their roster? And I wonder, and we'll find out, I know the NHL's very, very specific about it. The NHL is very specific about releasing this information. What if Crosby and Malkin got affected? Or even Guentzel for that matter, or just like anyone. It's like you can't be serious. I mean, it's like anyone can catch it. And there's a certain country that is at fault for this because they couldn't contain this virus when they first knew about it because they were obviously stubborn and stuck up about it. And that country, do I feel like naming it? Yes, China, because they didn't know what they were doing to begin with. It's as simple as that. They were completely oblivious about the whole thing, and now it's spread here in the United States, and it's affected everything in its restarts to the league. It's an SMH feeling shaking my head on it. That's all I'm saying on this. Enough with my rants with the NHL and the Pittsburgh Penguins, whatever else about the coronavirus. On to my next hockey thing. So the hotels, let's hope they get to Canada. They should be there already, but I had enough of that rant already. So they announced the hotels. So, the Boston Bruins, the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Washington Capitals, the Philadelphia Flyers, and the Pittsburgh Penguins will be staying at the Hotel X in Toronto. And then, the Carolina Hurricanes, the New York Islanders, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Florida Panthers, the New York Rangers, and the Montreal Canadiens will be staying at the Royal York Hotel. And I saw it was the Royal York Hotel. I think that was the hotel I saw a picture of the other day on Twitter. And I made a joke to my brother Jake. I'm like, for the people that watch SpongeBob, it's like the Krusty Towers. I don't know why that was the first thing that popped in my mind, but it's like, welcome to the Krusty Towers. And then my brother Jake's like to me, dude, what are you doing? It's like any tall hotel could look, you could say that, and whatever else. So I just thought I'd poke for you guys for the fun. And then in Edmonton, you have the St. Louis Blues, the Colorado Avalanche, the Vegas Golden Knights, the Dallas Stars, the Edmonton Oilers, and the Nashville Predators will be staying at the JW Marriott Hotel in Edmonton, Alberta. And then the Vancouver Canucks, the Calgary Flames, the Winnipeg Jets, the Minnesota Wild, the Arizona Coyotes, and the Chicago Blackhawks are staying at the Sutton Place Hotel in Edmonton, Alberta, nonetheless. So the East stays in Toronto, Ontario, nonetheless. And then the West teams are staying in Edmonton, Alberta, nonetheless. So I saw a video, and I'm going to go back to this. So I saw a video on Twitter yesterday. This was back in 2007 where the NHL was doing on NBC promo. That was the old NHL on NBC logo. It was like Sidney Crosby was like, he was like babyface, the assistant captain. And then he had Alex Ovechkin. And then Alex Ovechkin, the Hartford Heart Soul of the Capitals, he was in his hotel room, and Crosby makes a comment, "Oh, it's Ovechkin." I wonder if that would happen at their hotels. I don't think it would. Everyone's going to be staying on their own floor. So, and then there were some other players that were in that video. I couldn't recognize what was in the Minnesota Wild jersey. I couldn't remember who the faces were because it was like over a decade ago. So that was funny. Maybe they should do that. They probably won't because of strict quarantine rules and stuff like that. So everyone's going to have their own floor and their own hotel room probably at these places. So with it being the 13th of July today, nonetheless, we're only 11 days away from them arriving and having a postseason and other things begin nonetheless. And as I was saying about training camp earlier, so this is where Phase 3 begins. One step closer for the season return. Only 7 teams are home, while the other 24 teams are preparing to win the Stanley Cup. So, there are a lot of questions each team has to answer. And I gave each team a question, and I'm going to answer it. So, for the Western Conference, let's start with the 12th seed, the Chicago Blackhawks. The question I have for them is, do they have goaltending problems? The answer is obviously, of course, yes. You're going to tell me that Corey Crawford's going to be able to help steal a series against Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, or Robin Leonard for that matter, for the Vezina Trophy last year with the New York Islanders? Not happening, and Chicago's not very good. Next up, the number 11 seed, Arizona Coyotes. Do they have enough offense? Something tells me I don't think they're deep enough on 4 lines under Rick Tocchet. But if Taylor Hall or Phil Kessel catch their spark, get them hot for that short series, they could maybe upset the Nashville Predators because they are capable of scoring goals. The problem is I don't know who else around them. Clayton Keller, Christian Dvorak? Do they have anything else in Arizona? No, they're young. They don't have a lot of goal scoring. They don't have a lot of depth, but they're very well structured and they're very well disciplined. 10th seed Minnesota Wild. Are they too content to be here? I'm probably going to say yes. Probably because General Manager Billy Guerin, I actually have a picture with him from one back when I was living in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, when he brought the Stanley Cup after the Penguins won it the second time. In the back-to-back year after they beat the Nashville Predators in 6 games, 2017. I actually happened to I went that day with my good friend, good listener to my show, Ben Matella. It was a fun day. I took a picture with Bill Guerin, 2009 Stanley Cup champion. And my dad's like, "Oh, cool." And he was also on the Devils in 95. So I think they're more in a rebuild mode, the Wild. I just think they're going to be happy to be here under Bruce Boudreau. But I wonder, though, if they don't show up, really, does... Oh, that's right. I was going to say, I'm just like, that just popped in my mind, though, that they did get rid of Bruce Boudreau earlier in the year. So they are going through in the midst of a rebuild a little bit, and I'm sure that's what probably is going to happen in Minnesota. Number 9, Winnipeg Jets. Do they have what it takes to make a deep playoff run? I think they do. You got Blake Wheeler. You have Patrick Laine. You have Mark Scheifele. You got some players on this team. You got Connor Hellebuyck. You got some decent pieces on this team. It's not bad. They're very good, Winnipeg. I just think that I just think that the Winnipeg Jets, I think they're one of the potential surprise teams in these playoffs. Number 8, Calgary Flames. Do they have enough blue lines to help to advance? It depends. I mean, are they going to get wrapped up by the Winnipeg Jets? If they do, I don't see them winning the series. But then yet again, I think they may be better off with David Rittich in net, and I think he's very good. So they might be okay. Number 7, Vancouver Canucks. Are they too young? I think they are. Brock Bossier, Quinn Hughes, and Elias Pettersson under Travis Green as the head coach. Number 6, Nashville Predators. Do they have enough offense other than Philip Forsberg? No. Or Matt Duchene? No, they don't have enough. Roman Josi provides it on the blue line, but they don't have enough. Number 5, Edmonton Oilers. Where can they get help from if Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl take nights off? Good question. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. They have Andreas Athanasiou. James Neal. They got some decent. They got a decent first and second line. Alex Chiasson is on the third line now, so maybe. And then Zach Kassian, also very good. Number 4, Dallas Stars. Will they be too defensively structured and not get enough offense for goalie Ben Bishop? Well, their top 2 lines are actually very good. I question the third and fourth line. You have Joe Pavelski, Jamie Benn, Alexander Radulov, Tyler Seguin, Corey Perry, and Radek Vaska. So, and then what do you have after that? Ro Pintz? You have Dallas Stars are going to be one of those surprise teams. Oh, you got John Klingberg and Mira Heiskanen on the back end. So they may be okay. They may win a series or two. It depends what happens in the round robin. Number 3, Vegas Golden Knights. Is Vegas overrated? Of course they're overrated. They're not getting past the first round. I don't care where they're seated. Come on. You're going to tell me that, and I don't think they have a go-to guy. You're going to tell me Max Pacioretty, William Karlsson? These guys played over their heads. Pete DeBoer, I didn't understand why they had fired Gerard Gallant to begin with. And I know they played much better under Pete DeBoer, who's been to a couple of Stanley Cup finals with the Devils and the Sharks. He lost in 6 games each, but I mean, come on. And Marc-Andre Fleury's getting up there. I just don't see it. Number 2, Colorado Avalanche. Is this their time to win it all since 2001 season against the New Jersey Devils in 7 games? Of course this is their time. Of course this is the Avalanche's time. Why do I say this is Colorado's time? Because first of all, the Colorado Avalanche are loaded. Top 6, Nathan MacKinnon and Mikko Rantanen. Because McKinnon is the heart and soul of the Avalanche. And Mikko Rantanen is a very solid winger for him. Nazem Kadri, Kyle McCarr probably going to win the what's it called? The Norris Trophy, the Rookie of the Year. Philip Grubauer, solid goalie. Jared Bednar, solid head coach. He's made jumps slowly but surely jumps every year. This would be for the Avalanche, first time since 2001 in 7 games against New Jersey Devils to win the Cup. And then number 1, the St. Louis Blues. Are they primed to go back-to-back with all this time off? I think they can. Will they is another story. They have the goalie in Jordan Binnington. They got the defensive structure. And they got the coach. I'm telling you what the X factor is, even though he's one of the best goal scorers in the league. Vladimir Tarasenko's health. That's the X factor. If Tarasenko finds the knack of goal scoring like he is, then no one may beat the Blues again. But I'm not just going to sit here and pretend that they're this team that can't be beaten. Because I said it before the year started. there would be one team out west that would give a monster problems that I still believe in, and that's Colorado Avalanche. I don't think that's the team the St. Louis Blues want to play. And I'm sticking by that, and I'm sticking by it. If the St. Louis Blues do not run into Colorado Avalanche, I believe St. Louis is going to go back to the finals. If they do face the Avalanche, I'm not sure if they're going to. Something about the Avalanche's speed and skill, I think they're ready to get to the finals. I think Colorado's extremely hungry, and I'm not saying that St. Louis isn't to go back-to-back. Something tells me that, and this happened to watch the Capitals when they lost in 7 games last year to the Carolina Hurricanes after they blew a 2-0 lead. In the series, they lost 4-3 in the series and in overtime and double overtime against the Carolina Hurricanes on a goal by Justin Williams, who's been there before. Or he was shot by Justin Williams and redirected in. So, I'm not saying Washington situation could happen to St. Louis, but I'm not sure if it will. Obviously, time's going to tell if it does or not when these games get going and how this round robin is and who's in shape and who's not. That's what it all comes down to. That's what it simply comes down to. And that's all for now for the Western Conference. Nonetheless. So I'm moving into the So I'll be moving into the Eastern Conference now. Number 12 seed, Montreal Canadiens. Will they even have goaltender Carey Price, forward Max Domi, and others due to coronavirus? I think Price is more 60-40. I probably don't think he will opt out. But I thought he was maybe going to. His wife is expecting, and I'm not sure if he's comfortable with the circumstances. And I know that Max Domi and the Montreal Canadiens front office and him, they're just waiting 7 to 10 days to figure out if it's going to be safe for him to play or not with his type 1 diabetes. Number 11, New York Rangers. Who's the starting goalie? Igor Shesterkin, Henrik Lundqvist, or Alexander Georgiev? Shesterkin should be the starter. Georgiev should be the starter. And Lundqvist should be the odd man out. Number 10, the Florida Panthers. Will tasting the postseason be good for them? And Joel Quenneville's first season with the franchise. I think it will help. I just think the experience alone will help. I mean, Quenneville knows they're not going to win the cup. I know he's like, yeah, let's win the cup. I've done this before. Let's try and win the whole thing. But we got to be real about the Florida Panthers and what he's dealing with. Jonathan Huberdeau, he's one of the most underrated players in this league that no one talks about because of the market he's in. And Sergei Bobrovsky actually played well last year in the playoffs with Columbus. So maybe he could have another good postseason run or another good postseason stint with the Florida Panthers this time. And if Bobrovsky shows he plays well, even if they lose the Islanders, like, yeah, we got our goalie. But if he doesn't, then there may be a problem. So I think this playoff experience is going to be good for the Florida Panthers. Number 9, Columbus Blue Jackets. Is Elvis Verslaken the goalie of the future? And are they primed to pull off another upset after they swept the President's Trophy winners last year, the Tampa Bay Lightning in the postseason, then losing to Boston Bruins in the second round 6 games? Oh, absolutely. I think they could maybe try and make another run at it. Let's look at the let's take a look at the things here. Verslaken's popped after Jonas Korpisalo got hurt. John Tortorella is a phenomenal head coach. And then you got Cam Atkinson and Pierre-Luc Dubois. And you had Seth Jones and Zach Werenski on the back ends. And I think this Columbus team is going to be very, very, very dangerous to keep an eye on. Because I like the matchup with them against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Excuse me. This team, I really believe, can maybe win another playoff series or two this year. And what if they do lose and land Alexis Lafreniere? And maybe play alongside Nick Foligno and some other guys in the near future. That'd be scary for Columbus. Number 8, Toronto Maple Leafs. Will they finally get out of first round since the 2002 season? The answer is no. No, Toronto's not beating Columbus even though they beat them twice this year. Playoffs are a different animal. Austin Matthews, Mitchell Marner, John Tavares better be ready for that physicality that the Columbus Blue Jackets are going to bring. Because Austin Matthews and Mitchell Marner do not like physicality down the middle, and that's what Columbus brings. Why do you think they beat Tampa Bay last year? Because this team is gritty and completely unselfish. So this is going to be another disappointing early exit for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and head coach Sheldon Keefe and general manager Kyle Dubas are going to have to answer a lot of questions this offseason when they get eliminated in the first round again. Number 7 seed New York Islanders. Do they have enough offense for Matthew Barzal and head coach Barry Trotz? I don't think so, not this year. Josh Bailey, Anders Lee, and maybe if Kiefer Bellows or Oliver Wahlstrom and Preston and Cabinet play, they're still too young. I don't know if they're exactly ready yet. And I know how much Uncle Frankie's big Islanders fan. I'm not sure if he even thinks they're going to get some play time. And all these other teams, for that matter, got some young guys that may be impressed but won't see play time because of the other guys that are potentially on the roster. Number 6, the Carolina Hurricanes. Will they be blanking themselves before the series begins against the New York Rangers after losing 4 games to them this season? Maybe. But I think they'll be okay under head coach Rob Brind'Amour. They got Andrei Svechnikov, Sebastian Aho, and as long as James Reimer or whoever's playing goalie for the Carolina Hurricanes, I think they're going to be okay. Number 5, Pittsburgh Penguins. There's Jake Gunn. Before I get into number 5, I think Carolina is going to beat the New York Rangers. But I'm going to have that another day for that preview. Number 5, Pittsburgh Penguins. Does Jake Guentzel put them over the top, and do they win the 3rd Stanley Cup for the 3rd time in 5 years? After going back in 2016 and 2017 against the San Jose Sharks in 6 games in 16 and the Nashville Predators in 6 games in 17. I think it's possible. My issue with Pittsburgh is, well, I think they would beat the Flyers after they beat the Canadiens. But here's my problem. Are they physical enough to beat a team like the Washington Capitals? Yeah, Washington beat them 2 out of 3 times. It probably should have been 3 out of 3. They got lucky on Super Bowl day when Pittsburgh won 4-3 and Washington missed on a couple of executions. I remember watching that game. And it's like, I'm just sitting there and it's like, what? I couldn't believe Washington didn't win that game. Pittsburgh didn't deserve to win that game. And then Pittsburgh had them in the lead in the second game at Capital One Arena. The second time around. And then the third time they played at PPG Paints Arena. And then they could completely get bombarded against Washington. Physically and emotionally. But then yet again, it's the playoffs and anything can happen with this rivalry. And I'm sure the Penguins are going to remember the Evgeny Kuznetsov goal that was scored at PPG Paints Arena back in 2018 that knocked them out. And I'm sure there's going to be some no love lost between those two teams. And a potential another bloodbath may be on the way. And then maybe that's just what the doctor ordered, right? Number 4, the Philadelphia Flyers. Are they too young to win it all with Alain Vigneault in his first year as head coach? They may be. They showed signs of overachieving this year, and I think this break's going to hurt them more than help them. They were one of the hotter teams in the league before the coronavirus happened. Carter Hart's one of their best goalies. Brian Elliott's the backup. You got Claude Giroux, Sean Couturier, Travis Konechny. Oh, and props to Oscar Lindblom for completing all of his cancer treatments. For ringing the bell. This was last week or 2 weeks ago. And then they got some young prospects. One of the young prospects that comes to mind, Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee. Those are two of the guys that will probably be in camp. I don't know if they'll be on the roster when the season resumes, but it's something remains to be seen. Number 3, Washington Capitals. Can Todd Reederin make proper adjustments after losing to the Carolina Hurricanes last season after blowing a 2-0 lead and losing double overtime in Game 7 to the Carolina Hurricanes at 4-3 at Capital One Arena, Washington, D.C. And this is Alex Ovechkin's last chance. Hold on one second. All right. So, I personally do think this is one of 2 or 3 more Alex Ovechkin's best chances. I really do. Something tells me, I don't know what it is, and then in a couple years, I'm not sure if the Capitals are going to be the same team they are. I don't know if they're going to be the same team in a couple years from now. If they are the same team in a couple years from now, then good, then they'll have more chances. But I know he wants to keep playing and chase that goal-scoring drought. But then, I know you should never talk about injuries or anything like that. But it's like, it's always the case for it. It's like, if he does get injured, and if it's a bad one, is he never going to be the same? That's the truth. And that's the truth of the matter of sports. So, it could potentially be, and if they lose in the first round again, then you have to question if they made the right hire to replace Barry Trotz. And you also have to wonder if they they made a huge mistake letting go of him in the first place. So we'll see if this is Ovechkin's potential last chance. Number 2, Tampa Bay Lightning. Can the Tampa Bay Lightning win it all and pull off a University of Virginia after they got embarrassed in the playoffs to Columbus last year, like Virginia against 16th seed UMBC nonetheless? Let's see. I think they were my preseason pick to win the whole thing. The Columbus Blue Jackets were not the Columbus Blue Jackets, sorry, the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Columbus Blue Jackets were my pick to win the the Tampa Bay Lightning were my pick to win the Stanley Cup this year. The Tampa Bay Lightning are on a mission with Steven Stamkos. Yeah, he's got a lower body injury. And you got Nikita Kucherov. And you got Andrei Vasilevsky, who I think is the best goalie in the league. And John Cooper, one of the best head coaches in the NHL. So, I think they're going to win it all. I think they're going to win it all. I don't care where they're seated. I just think they're destined to win the whole thing. You have Braden Point and Alex Killorn, JT Brown, Ryan McDonough, Victor Hedman. You got so many good players on this team. Lastly but not least, at number 1, the Boston Bruins. At number 1, can Tuukka Rask finally lead them to a Stanley Cup title nonetheless? And I don't understand the hate that Tuukka Rask gets a lot. Because let's face it, Rask has been to 2 Stanley Cup finals. And he's never going to live it down because of Tim Thomas, leading them to the Stanley Cup and winning the Stanley Cup in 2011 against Vancouver Canucks in 7 games. Oh, and let's also not forget that Rask helped them win one game in the playoffs that year as well. Rask has a Stanley Cup championship as a backup, and it led them to another 2 finals. And people will argue Rask is the best goalie in Bruins history. So I don't understand the criticism he gets. And yes, I know he was contemplating retirement because I think he does a lot of things full of grace and class with the Boston Bruins franchise. Because Tuukka Rask, I think, is one of the best goalies in the league. Rask may win the Vezina Trophy this year because he had better statistics than Vasilevsky. Although I think that Rask and Vasilevsky could very well share it. Nonetheless, I'm curious to see how it will work out and when the awards are going to be released. They're probably going to wait until after the season is completed. The playoffs, that is, for that matter. So we will see how it all works out at the end of the day. I think this could be 1 or 2 more rounds with Rask because he's contemplating retirement. But the thing is, Yaroslav Halak is 41, 42 years old. He's really up there and he can't play forever. Tuukka Rask is 33, 34, and maybe even 35, and he's like, what's Rask doing? I understand why Rask would maybe want to retire early. And the thing is, the Bruins have no one in their farm system. Did they have a guy named Zane McIntyre, who I don't think really panned out that much? They don't have anyone in their farm system. They had a guy named Malcolm Subban. He was horrible. And then he was with the Vegas Golden Knights and actually was okay. He's the brother of PK Subban, who's on the New Jersey Devils. And there's another Subban brother in the Toronto Maple Leaf system. So, we'll see if Rask can get them to win a Stanley Cup. I like Boston's chances too. That's if they don't play Tampa Bay. Well, I think that's probably going to happen. I think it's probably going to happen, but I'm curious to see how it's all going to work out at the end of the day. So, Rask, I think Rask needs to win 1 Stanley Cup as a starter, and I think it would solidify everything. And I think he's a Hall of Famer no matter what. But if he wins 1, I think it solidifies everything. That's what I feel about Tuukka Rask. I know a friend of mine, John Strish, he's a big Boston Bruins fan, close friend of mine from high school, and he's like, I love Tuukka Rask. I even actually got him a Tuukka Rask shirt when I was in New York a few years ago one time. And he's like, Tuukka Rask is one of the best goalies in the league. I don't understand this. I don't understand that. He's such a beast. And I remember sometimes when I'd be texting him, and I'd be like, dude, how about this save by Rask and this and that? So I just think it's pretty cool to talk to people that you know about stuff like this. I think it's pretty cool, though. Nonetheless, and then another NHL topic, they have released the schedule for the qualifying rounds. So we'll go from August 1st to August 10th. Here's the official schedule for it, nonetheless. Actually, we'll go through the 9th because the 10th will be the off day. So here we go. August 1st. New York Rangers, Carolina Hurricanes, Game 1. Florida Panthers, New York Islanders, Game 1. Montreal Canadiens versus Pittsburgh Penguins, Game 1. Chicago Blackhawks versus Edmonton Oilers, Game 1. And Winnipeg Jets versus Calgary Flames, Game 1. They will announce the times at a later date. August 2nd, Philadelphia Flyers versus Boston Bruins, round robin. Columbus Blue Jackets versus Toronto Maple Leafs, Game 1. St. Louis Blues versus Colorado Avalanche, round robin. Arizona Coyotes versus Nashville Predators, Game 1. And Minnesota Wild versus Vancouver Canucks, Game 1. August 3rd, round robin. Washington Capitals versus Tampa Bay Lightning. New York Rangers versus Carolina Hurricanes, Game 2. Montreal Canadiens versus Pittsburgh Penguins, Game 2. Round robin, Dallas Stars versus Vegas Golden Knights. Chicago Blackhawks versus Edmonton Oilers, Game 2. And Winnipeg Jets versus Calgary Flames, Game 2. August 4th, Columbus Blue Jackets versus Toronto Maple Leafs, Game 2. Carolina Hurricanes versus New York Rangers, Game 3. Florida Panthers versus New York Islanders, Game 2. Arizona Coyotes versus Nashville Predators, Game 2. Minnesota Wild versus Vancouver Canucks Game 2. And Calgary Flames versus Winnipeg Jets Game 3. August 5th, round robin, Tampa Bay Lightning versus Boston Bruins. New York Islanders versus Florida Panthers Game 3. Pittsburgh Penguins versus Montreal Canadiens Game 3. Round robin, Colorado Avalanche versus Dallas Stars. Nashville Predators versus Arizona Coyotes Game 3. And Edmonton Oilers versus Chicago Blackhawks Game 3. August 6th, round robin, Washington Capitals versus Philadelphia Flyers. Toronto Maple Leafs versus Columbus Blue Jackets Game 3. If necessary, Game 4, Carolina Hurricanes and New York Rangers. Round robin, Vegas Golden Knights against the St. Louis Blues. Vancouver Canucks versus Minnesota Wild in Game 3. And if necessary, Game 4, Calgary Flames versus Winnipeg Jets. August 7th, if necessary, Game 4, Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. If necessary, Game 4, New York Islanders versus Florida Panthers. If necessary, Game 4, Pittsburgh Penguins versus Montreal Canadiens. If necessary, Game 4, Nashville Predators versus Arizona Coyotes. Game 4, if necessary, Edmonton Oilers versus Chicago Blackhawks. And if necessary, Game 4, Vancouver Canucks versus Minnesota Wild. August 8th, round robin, Boston Bruins versus Washington Capitals. If necessary, Game 5, New York Rangers versus Carolina Hurricanes. If necessary, Game 5, Montreal Canadiens versus Pittsburgh Penguins. Round robin, Vegas Golden Knights versus Colorado Avalanche. Game 5, if necessary, Chicago Blackhawks versus Edmonton Oilers. And Game 5, if necessary, Winnipeg Jets versus the Calgary Flames. August 9th, round robin, Philadelphia Flyers versus Tampa Bay Lightning. Game 5, if necessary, Columbus Blue Jackets versus Toronto Maple Leafs. Game 5, if necessary, Florida Panthers and New York Islanders. Round robin, Dallas Stars versus St. Louis Blues. Game 5, if necessary, Arizona Coyotes versus Nashville Predators. And lastly but not least, Game 5, if necessary, Minnesota Wild versus Vancouver Canucks. And August 10th is your off day. So, with all that in mind, that is your schedule for the qualifying round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So I'm so excited for this to begin. And you're going to have all these games at different times of the day like March Madness. I cannot wait for these games to begin. I really cannot wait for these games to begin. It's going to be so energetic. I'm pumped. Really, I'm so pumped right now for these games to begin. And I probably will predict these series probably sometime next week or the Monday beforehand. Nonetheless. So, Tre'Davious White, the cornerback for the Buffalo Bills. And I felt like discussing this today. So, he responded to me back on Twitter yesterday. He's one of the best corners in the league. So there was a video of Tre'Davious White about him playing goalie in the NHL. And there were pucks being thrown at him. And he had some goalie gear on. And it was funny. And I'm like, this dude's very athletic. In my mind. So I saw the video. And I responded. And the tweet that he said on this video was, "It ain't fake though, we got merch and everything. ... thinking emoji." I responded on Twitter, "Dude's better than what the Buffalo Sabres have in net." Parentheses, 10 laughing emojis, 4 straight, 5 sideways, 1 straight. He responded back to me saying, "Nah man, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Carter Hutton's the man." 2 laughing emojis, basically straight. So I responded back to Tre'Davious White saying, so this is what I responded back. "I feel, brother, I just showed this to my brother. We both cracked up. I appreciate you responding to my tweet. You like what Linus Ullmark too? Thanks, I truly appreciate it. I'm a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, by the way. You keep doing you, looking down, not looking down people. It should be locking down people in the NFL. 10 savage emojis." I thought it was cool that Tre'Davious White actually responded to me. Very classy of him. Very, very, very classy for Tre'Davious White to respond to me. I appreciate you. Maybe hopefully one of these days I could start finally having guys talking to on my show. Professional athletes, non-professional athletes, that'd be pretty cool to expand my range. So thank you, Tre'Davious White. I truly appreciate you responding to my tweet. Just keep doing you, bro. Just keep doing it. Just keep locking stuff. You're one of the best corners in the league. You're the second best corner behind Stephon Gilmore. And I know you probably believe that you're the first best corner in the NFL, which I totally understand too. So speaking, let's just stay in the NFL here. With the coronavirus going on, I want to play this game. Will each team have a fan in the stadium, yes or no, this year? So let's go through all 32 teams. Nonetheless, and let's start with the AFC East and which teams are going to have fans or not. New England Patriots, yes, they will have fans. New York Jets, yes, they will have fans in the stadium. Will the Buffalo Bills have fans in the stadium? I think, yes, they will. The Miami Dolphins, yes, they will. I should have put duh, because they're in the state of Florida. That's what I felt like. Next, AFC South, Houston Texans, yes. Indianapolis Colts, yes. Tennessee Titans, yes. Jacksonville Jaguars, yes. That's another dub because they're in the state of Florida. AFC North, Baltimore Ravens, no. Pittsburgh Steelers, no. Cincinnati Bengals, no. Cleveland Browns, no. AFC West, Los Angeles Chargers, no. Denver Broncos, no. Kansas City Chiefs, yes. Las Vegas Raiders, no. I thought about putting yes for the Vegas Raiders until I realized, I'm not sure if Vegas is going to have fans because I know Vegas is not having fans right now for their MMA fights or anything else in Vegas for that matter. NFC East, Philadelphia Eagles, no. New York Giants, yes. Washington Redskins, well, it's going to be a new name now, no. Dallas Cowboys, yes. NFC South, Atlanta Falcons, yes. Carolina Panthers, yes. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, yes. Change that to a duh. And then New Orleans Saints. I don't know why I said this, but I said no for New Orleans. Maybe, I know it's the South, and maybe with the whole SEC and college football and all that stuff, but we'll see. NFC North, Green Bay Packers, no. Minnesota Vikings, no. Detroit Lions, no. Chicago Bears, yes. But I say yes for now for Chicago, but I might have to backtrack on that one later. NFC West, Seattle Seahawks, no. San Francisco 49ers, no. Los Angeles Rams, no. And Arizona Cardinals, I'm going to say no for them nonetheless because their owner spoke out on it. He knows how serious this is, and he at least respects it and basically spoke out with grace and class about the situation. So I think it will be okay in the long. I think he's going to realize. I don't think they're going to have fans in the stadium. We'll see. So, with the last few minutes on this show, so let me first say this now. Use promo code 12OZ Sports, all cash, for a deposit bonus up to $1,000 for my bookie. I'm going to be saying that 2 more times before the end of the show. So, there are a couple more there are like 3 more topics I have on my script, but I'm obviously not going to get to all of them today. Let's see. The MLB is going to be all right with the social distancing. Fine, nonetheless. We'll see what happens, though, nonetheless. I think they'll be okay. Major League Baseball. And then the New York update on the New York Mets sale. Fred and Jeff Volpine may be selling the team to Steve Cohen, who's the minority owner of the team. Steve Cohen put a $2 million bid on the Mets and SNY potentially for $2 billion. Alex Rodriguez, Frank Viola, and Jennifer Lopez, maybe the other group that buys the Mets. But they put down a $1.7 billion bid. So Cohen's probably is the leading candidate right now. I wonder what would happen if like A-Rod and Jeter like went up against each other, with Jeter owning the Marlins with his group. Nonetheless, so next up, use promo code 12OZ Sports. All cash for deposit bonus up to $1,000 for my bookie. Yeah, that would be something though. But I think Steve Cohen's gonna find a way to buy the Mets. To be honest, at the end of the day, nonetheless. And then, what my last thing today? Well, I'm gonna have to probably wait. Because I know college football is starting to start either canceling things in the fall or other things with college football and other fall sports. So I'm curious to see, if college football is pushed off to the spring, if it's pushed off to the spring, who's really going to play? So here are the guys that may not play if it's in the spring. Quarterback Trevor Lawrence, Clemson. Running back Travis Etienne, Clemson. Wide receiver Justin Ross, Clemson. Alabama wide receivers Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith. LSU wide receiver Jamar Chase. Ohio State quarterback Shaun Wade. Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields. Penei Sewell, offensive tackle Oregon. Micah Parsons, linebacker Penn State. Gregory Rousseau, edge rusher Miami, Florida. Patrick Surtain Jr., cornerback Alabama. Dylan Moses, linebacker Alabama. Alex Leatherwood, offensive tackle Alabama. Paulson Adebayo, cornerback Stanford. And that's probably some of the names for college football that would not play because of the NFL draft. Here's some guys that may play, may not play if it's in the spring. And these are some of the guys that would maybe or maybe not play, and these guys are going to get drafted next year. Quarterback Trey Lance, North Dakota State. Walker Little, offensive tackle Stanford. Samuel Cosme, offensive tackle Texas. Jamie Newman, quarterback Georgia, transfer from Wake Forest. Richard LeCounte, safety Georgia. Marvin Wilson III, defensive lineman Florida State. Wyatt Davis, offensive lineman Ohio State. Creed Humphrey, offensive line Oklahoma. Christian Barmore, defensive line Alabama. Trey Smith, offensive lineman Tennessee. Jalen Mayfield, offensive tackle Michigan. Jalen Twyman, defensive lineman Pitt. Javon Holland, safety Oregon. Kyle Pitts, tight end Florida. Rondell Moore, wide receiver Purdue. Najee Harris, running back Alabama. Rashad Bateman, wide receiver Minnesota. Israel Mikuamu, cornerback South Carolina. Kane Mays, offensive tackle Tennessee. Brevin Jordan, tight end Miami, Florida. Andre Cisco, safety Syracuse. And Deontay Brown, offensive lineman Alabama, nonetheless. Ladies and gentlemen, we are out of time here. Thanks for tuning in to Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner. I am your host, Glenn Kaplan. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day and also your week as well. Nonetheless, enjoy whatever you're doing. Nonetheless, I will be back on the air at the same time on Thursday. I will go over some more NBA and NHL topics. Nonetheless, I also have more about regards to the 2020 NFL regular season. Nonetheless, here now. Nonetheless, and other NFL topics related to here now. Nonetheless, we'll see. Maybe some MLB opening day for 2020. Nonetheless, or maybe some more college football or MLB. We'll see where it goes. Nonetheless, all right. Use promo code 12OZ Sports. All cash for deposits for up to $1,000 for my bookie.